Ooh, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another eclectic edition of PWT Podcast. Yeah, back with another one. I am your host, the infallible, the fanatical, the frank, Phil Marks. And joining me today is the masterful, the monster, the monstrous Mish. Anthony from Wrestling Soup. How you doing, buddy?
I am fantastic, Phil. How about yourself, buddy?
Just glad we could link up, you know. It's hot up here in Canuck land, even though it's rainy and stuff, which is weird. But yeah, I'm just healing up nicely, and I've been doing well, man. Just taking my rest, taking my time, and recording a lot of podcasts and doing all of that while I'm at home doing nothing for the next little while. But how about you, man? How's things over in Wrestling Soup land?
Man, same thing. I think for the most part, it's been warm as hell in Chicago, and I'm sure it's warm as hell on the East Coast too. It's just we're getting rid of this summer, working our way to fall, maybe get a couple of weeks of 60-degree weather. Everything be gorgeous then. As far as wrestling, yeah, how can you stop talking about it? Everything has changed. We have the end of SmackDown, the brand new SmackDown. You've got the Vince documentary coming out. Ooh. And of course, everybody's favorite, the AEW Warner Brothers deal. There's just so much to talk about on the table.
He just bursts out laughing. That's awesome. Well, folks, before we jump into all of that good stuff, make sure you check out youtube.com/@prowrestletimes. You're probably listening to this there, but if you're listening to this on like Apple or Spotify or whatever, make sure you flip over to YouTube and hit that subscribe, even if you don't listen to anything. It just it's nice to hit the subscribe. Over at youtube.com/@prowrestleclips as well is the other channel. Guys, we're at almost 4,500 subs, I want to say, and then we're at on the way to, I want to say 1,300 or 1,400 on the other channel. So thank you all so much, all of the members and everybody else.
Acknowledge me.
I appreciate you all, and make sure you check out Wrestling Soup, of course. Well, where you let the good folks know where they can find and follow you, and then we'll jump into this news here, this hot news.
Sure. Yeah, no, you guys can find us on. You can find our clips on youtube.com/Wrestling Soup 2010. We've also got a Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Soup, and you can find us on any podcast platform where our main shows go. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, etc. We're everywhere. We've been around for 15 years. WrestlingSoup.com. Much love, Phil. Thanks.
Yeah, of course, buddy. Of course. I'm so pumped to have you back too. It's been a minute, and and I'd love to come back over and do your stuff, whatever. The good folks know that, and I'm just glad you're back, man. I love doing shows with you. So, Mish, I promised the people I would talk to them about TNA Victory Road. I don't think you got a chance to watch that. I had to put it off for days, to be honest, to even get to it. So, not that I don't care, but they had a great big house. Yes. They just did more tapings down in Austin, Texas, I believe, or this event was from Austin. I apologize, guys, but they just did more tapings that were like all sold out too. Yeah. So good on them. And this building had like 2,000 people in it. The aesthetic was fire. It was well lit. It had the old yellow, black, and red feel. You know, the red ropes looked awesome. They should just keep those for TV all the time. And the building was well lit. AEW needs to take some notes from TNA. They figured it out. They figured out how to get people invested, have partnerships, and work with companies where they can bring in wrestlers that people actually want to see. Yeah. They get the wrestlers that people actually want to see involved in stories with the main TNA talent. They have it formatted well to where, you know, Joe Hendry's like the biggest deal right now in wrestling, and he's over there, and he's basically like in TNA's like he's a top guy, but he's supporting and almost like helping get over Jordan Grace and Nick Nemeth and all the main TNA shit that's going on. It's brilliant.
He's almost bigger because I think the NXT audience, the fans of NXT, watch TNA now for Joe Hendry. I think he's bigger, and I hate to say that because it may sound like I'm trying to belittle anyone. I'm not. Yeah. I'm just saying Joe Hendry is such a blue chip star that he is going to be your next level guy. He is breaking out of the business.
Oh, absolutely. And wait a minute, Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I thought if he said his name, he appears. Is he here? Mish, is he here?
He
Is
might
he at your
be.
place?
He might be.
God damn it. He's not here yet. You know, it
Oh.
happens every time. Every show, I swear to God. One day, guys. But anyways, though, yeah, it just looked great. The building's well lit, and yeah, with this whole crossover with NXT, I mean, you really don't know if a NXT guy is going to show up, if a TNA guy is going to show up on the other show, and it keeps both shows so exciting. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to when they do the NXT TNA Invasion PLE or whatever.
Coming.
Yeah, people are saying it'll be called Worlds Collide. I would just fucking don't even, or maybe I guess if they have a trademark, but you know, NXT goes with all of the old WCW PLE names. Just go with Invasion, dude. Just do the Invasion.
Absolutely.
Fucking yeah, dude. Recreate the poster or whatever with, or I guess who would you create it with? Michaels and who? I guess D'Amore's gone from TNA. We don't really know who's. Santino Marella.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else you'd put in. What would you put? Tommy Dreamer? Drag him back in there?
I don't even know. Hopefully not. No, shout out Dreamer. No, I'm not hating. But anyways, though, man, it was an awesome show. Kushida, Leon Slater. Kushida won. He needed a win. I'm not going to get into the grimy of this guy's. Pardon me. Jake something and Hammerstone throwdown with Steve Maclin and Eric Young. Again, I don't know. I like Maclin when he's a heel. I like Young when he's more of a heel. Something and Hammerstone are sort of playing that middle, because like you want to cheer for them, but they're kind of these big burly badass dudes.
Right.
And they get a big win, and this is an awesome tag team putting Something and Hammerstone together. I think it's a great pairing just because they're both sort of unique powerhouses. I don't know, but we recently saw Hammerstone on NXT. Yeah. He showed up out of nowhere in a losing effort, but just phenomenal. Like, we know now that Shawn Michaels and WWE have their eyes on this dude, which is long overdue. And yeah, I don't know, man. This match was what it was. But are you a big fan of Jake Something or Hammerstone? You familiar with those guys?
I've seen Jake Something a few times. I go to the TNA events when they come around here to Chicago. They actually go up in Cicero. Yeah. The venues are, I mean, the venue that they play at is always extra warm, but the audience is always into it. You know, like one of the comments that I got the other day, and I was doing one of the shows, is they're like, oh, you know, when TNA does these shows, it always seems like they're quiet. And I'm like, it really isn't that way. Whereas like WWE audiences can sometimes get rabid, TNA audiences, when you're there live, people are engrossed. Let me tell you, Phil, people are sitting there paying attention to every molecule, every move, every sudden shudder that any guy makes in that ring. It's almost like the quiet respect you see in Japanese audiences. Yeah. But I'm always so amazed every time I go to TNA, not that people are quiet, that people are just so entertained, so engrossed into what's going on in the ring. It's amazing. It's a great feel. But yeah, Jake Something is good. I've seen him a few times. Alex Hammerstone, I've even seen him in MLW. He is absolutely a guy that NXT has their eyes on. You are dead set right on that. I would not be surprised if he's going to be one of those players in this NXT TNA invasion that happens. So
both of these guys, man, Jake Something and Hammerstone, bring them both in, man. You know, Jake Something's got that look where it's like, yeah, he could be on main roster WWE tomorrow, you know, and I wouldn't even shock me.
All four of them got the size. Honestly, all four of those guys got the size to be in there. Absolutely.
Yeah, they do. I'm going to be real, and I'm a big, you know, I'm a Canuck, so I got to hold it down for my Canucks. I'm so over Eric Young. Like, dude, he's got to lead a faction, like Sanity, and just, I don't want to see him in singles runs anymore and shit. I don't know. That's just me. I'm a hater, I guess. Pardon me?
Maybe a new Team Canada?
Oh, fuck, dude. I would mark out so hard for that. Oh, buddy, let's go. I'm so down. Moving along, though, and I believe this set off the pay-per-view right here, was the Hardys versus First Class. Now, you know, Casey Navarro replacing Rich Swann, who is doing treatment right now. Okay, guys, so prayers up for Rich Swann. I guess he has some sort of problem or so. I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get into all that, but or unless you want to, Mish, you got something to say about Rich Swann? Or
no, I hope he's okay.
Me too. Yeah, that's all. I don't wish, like, yeah, whatever he did, he was like a DUI or something. Okay, like that's not good, but people typically need help when they're in those situations more than, we should. Just thank God no one's hurt or anything like that, or if that was even the situation. I have no idea. Jeff Hardy, though, is over here, and he's been through the same thing multiple times, so it's like, this isn't going to be the talk about DUI cast. So Navarro is replacing Swan because of these circumstances, and at first I went, this Navarro, I'm not really feeling him with AJ Francis, top dollar. And then, I don't know, this pay-per-view, it really clicked for me, them as a unit. I was like, damn, they work well together. And then when Swan's ready to come back, if you just add Swan and then there are trios, it works, man. To me, it really works. Navarro really was feeding off of Francis well, and they're like the modern day, the 2024 HBK and Diesel is now essentially. This is
the Hardy's first pay-per-view in TNA.
Matt Hardy showed up, did a twist of fate to someone, and then when they went to Canada for the last pay-per-view, Jeff, obviously for obvious reasons, wasn't allowed in the country because in Canada, if you have like gun or DUI stuff, you're not allowed in the country unless you work for WWE. They figure it out somehow. And then so Matt wrestled on the pay-per-view. Or maybe it was on the pre-show even of the pay-per-view. I'm not sure, but yes, the Hardys together on pay-per-view in a tag match, full-fledged, their first time back together in TNA, and it was actually a great match. Like, I really fucking enjoyed it, man. Navarro was great in there. Matt Hardy, did what he did. He's his body's like moves weird. Is he
back to V1 or is he doing the
they're just being the Hardys. They're not broken. Fair. They're not Navarro was making fun of the V1 stuff. He calls himself the blessed one, so he's like, yeah, B1, and he has like and he's like doing his taunts and all, or his mannerisms and all that. So, but Jeff Hardy, man, he looks better. He's looked better in TNA than he looked in his entire AEW run, period. Fantastic. So I don't know what the hell. Even when Hardy debuted in AEW, it was a little like, man, is he like missing a step? What's going on? Like there's something up with him. In TNA, I've seen none of that. It's like he's got an extra step back in him, and he looks rejuvenated. Yeah, so I don't know. Swanton twist of fate, Swanton bomb finish, 1, 2, 3. You know how it goes down, Mish. But yeah, it was a solid match to kick off the pay-per-view. I really fucking enjoyed it. And I wish I could play these clips, but they'll fucking pull me. I'll get Don Stevens. But yeah, we saw there was a couple good spots where you see like Francis throws him into the buckle. God, I don't want to get pulled down, but Francis does this choke slam, and he's fucking awesome, man. Top Dollar has been doing great work in TNA. I think
he's got a lot better once he got out of WWE. He's actually really improved there, which is a complete surprise considering where he came from and what he was giving us back in the day versus what he's doing today. So it's one of those shoestring stories that you want to hear about. You want to hear about the guy that started at the bottom, or in this case, he started at the top, wasn't deserving of it, and now he's cutting his teeth in there and he's really trying to get better, and he is. So that's what we want to see.
Yeah, no doubt. We have Zach Wentz defending the X Division title against Mike Bailey, who won.
Yeah.
Yes. So I love Speedball. He won the title from Mustafa Ali, broke Ali's undefeated streak since he left WWE. He won it. And then they had the Ultimate X match. Wentz won it.
Okay.
And then so this is like sort of like a rematch of like Bailey was the last champ. Here's the new champ. And so Bailey won the belt back, which was crazy. Yeah, that they're flopping it around like that. Why even put it on Wentz? I would have had Wentz about to win the Ultimate X, and then Wesley shows up in TNA again, fucks him, because Wesley was just in TNA recently with the Rascals. So so you just have him show up there again. He fucks Wentz out of the belt, and then they go on and have a big match here at Victory Road, where maybe Wes Lee from NXT gets his win back over Wentz, who won it. Like that's what I would have done.
I can see that. Bailey, that's really good. The thing is Mike Bailey is a highlight reel. Like that guy's a human highlight reel. I will go to TNA events just to watch Speedball Mike Bailey. I love Speedball, that great. Man. Yeah. So. Another Canuck doing the thing properly. But yeah, so Mike Bailey wins it back. Sweet. I just feel like them fumbling the title around like that undermines and they did it to get the X
division title on WWE TV. I get why they did it, but to me, it undermines Speedball winning it in his hometown and stopping Mustafa Ali's winning streak. Like, I know I've said it many times on the show, folks, but just to reiterate, and for Mish here, like, remember, Mustafa Ali was like, yeah, he told New Japan, yeah, I'll join the G1, but I can't lose. I have to go undefeated and win the whole thing. Like, I'm doing this undefeated run thing that I'm working on. And it was all to give it to Mike Bailey in his hometown, and Mustafa has been sort of like on a bit of a hiatus since, right? Yeah, this happened. Yeah. So it was a big, like, that's what it was for. And then just to put it on Wentz and that fucking Ultimate X to have Bailey win it back, I'm like, TNA. I'm not. I don't know. I'll give them a Price is Wrong for that one. To be honest, but I do. This match was fucking phenomenal, and Bailey is amazing, and Wentz is incredible, and shout out the Rascals. Anyways, moving along, we had Matt Cardona and Steph DeLander take on PCO and Rhino, but this match never actually happened. Now, in kayfabe, DeLander and PCO are married. Rhino came back to help PCO after Matt Cardona interrupted DeLander and PCO's wedding and was saying, DeLander, you're my property. And the story is he basically worked it into like, yeah, you're my property and you're teaming with me to take on your husband and Rhino type thing. And she's like, I'm not your property, da-da-da-da-da. So when the match starts, right before it starts, the bell, everyone makes their entrances, the bell doesn't even ring yet. DeLander grabs the mic and she reveals that she needs neck surgery, and it's a shoot, brother. This isn't like part of the show. She legitimately needs neck surgery. The fans, I don't think quite understood if she was working or shooting. Like, I think they were kind of like, is this part of it? Is she going to trick him and glom him with a fucking 8-ball sock or whatever? Because that's what they do, you know? So it's like, who knows? Like, DeLander is, you never know. She's with Cardona. Like, everybody probably thought she was going to heel turn on PCO here or stay with Cardona or something again, whatever. But either way, she revealed, that she wakes up in pain every day and she will be back, but it's going to be a long ass time and she needs to get her neck fused or some shit. I don't know. It's something serious. I don't know if it's that serious, but but yeah, it's a big deal. And she gave a heartfelt whatever, and then took off. And the crowd at first, like by the end, I think they kind of understood it was legit. And then, but Rhino, man, the whole crowd was like gore, like the whole time, dude. They just wanted to see someone get gored. And then what happened was PCO walked off with DeLander, and then Cardona hit Rhino with his move and just like taunted, like, and then there was a no match. It was a no contest type thing. So, he just attacked Rhino, and maybe we get a rematch between those two. Unfortunate that TNA couldn't get this match off, but also, I mean, they did get a moment, but an unfortunate one out of DeLander. Are you familiar with DeLander? I'm a huge fan of hers.
I'm semi-familiar. I've seen a few matches and stuff like that, but I couldn't sit there and say I'm a big fan or anything. So.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. Wishing her a speedy recovery. And Matt Cardona, man, by all accounts, like, he's going to be in WWE sooner than later.
King of the Indies, man. Yeah.
Hopefully this Rumble, though, he makes an appearance. That'd be really cool. Comes back as Cardona.
I can see it. Honestly, WWE has been making some crazy moves. Obviously, the whole NXT TNA crossover has been a big one, and we've seen people join in the Rumble. Obviously, Jordan Grace being the biggest name that people remember for that. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised to see more TNA talent kind of cross over into the Royal Rumble, maybe even Survivor Series. Who knows? Make an appearance, something like that. But they seem very willing to work with outside candidates. Obviously, WWE even doing more work with the people in Japan and Mexico. So I look forward to the future as far as all this crossover stuff is concerned. I'm excited for it. I think all wrestling fans should be.
Yeah, I hope. Excuse me. I hope we get a Hendry appearance at the Rumble as well.
Oh, of course.
Just to test it. Yeah. Not saying every TNA guy's come. We're not going to get Nick Nemeth showing up in the Rumble, but I mean, a Hendry, a Cardona, a fucking, I could totally see it. Moving along, the system, they cut a promo, etc. So we have a Knockouts Tag Team Championship.
Yes.
Now, Alicia Edwards, part of the system, her storyline gimmick is like, oh, my neck's hurt. So you have Delander actually saying, yeah, I'm done. And then you have fucking Alicia going like, oh, my neck's hurt. And so I need someone to come step in for me. And so you have Spitfire. And if they lose, they must disband. And you have Masha Slamovich and Tasha Steelz, who are the representing the Knockouts titles, I guess, because Alicia can't defend her half of it, and the titles are on the line. So what happens? Is solid match. Spitfire wins. They don't have to disband. Tasha Steelz, I don't get it yet. It has not clicked for me. She, whatever it is, it's too much for now. Like, you gotta, I don't know. Whatever it is, man, it just isn't clicking with me. Not to hate on her. She's solid in ring and stuff, but the whole entrance, the whole gimmick, it's like you got to win a world title before you be coming to the ring like that and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
She doesn't even feel like she's on Masha's level.
No, like, not at all.
And I hate to say that because, once again, I'm not disparaging her. It feels like you have, like Crash Holly with Steve Austin. I don't know how else to put it. Like, Crash Holly was a great wrestler back in the day, clearly, but Steve Austin level, I don't know about that. So,
yeah, and so they kick Masha out of the group after this, basically. And so Tasha's more aligned with the system and good. I don't know. I want to see Masha. When Killer Kelly was on PWT podcast, I was like, yo, Masha and Alicia is no MK Ultra, and she's like, I know, dude. And I was, they're having a baby, so she's having a baby, so she ain't coming back anytime soon. And I don't think she wanted to say it on the show, so that's why she's like, no, I'm on the roster, but I'm not coming back. I'm just sort of chilling. That's why, guys. Okay, so there you go, and congrats to her and Myron Reed, another member of the Rascals. But either way, though, I want to see Masha and Kelly get linked back up, but that's not going to happen for a long time now. So I don't know, but yes, push Masha as a threat to Jordynne Grace. Jordynne needs challengers. She can't just clean out the NXT roster now, which we'll get into here because Wendy Chu showed up and showed out. But first, Josh Alexander versus Joe Hendry. Your boy Joe Hendry got the fucking win. Okay, this was a phenomenal match. Go back and check it out. This is I this whole time have been like, we're gonna get Alexander and Ethan Page reuniting to fucking beat on Hendry or whatever. That has not happened. Maybe we'll still get it down the line. Maybe like the Evil North team up to take on Hendry and Trick Williams or so. I don't know, but it seems like Hendry's time in NXT is sort of done for now. He's going to be more in TNA. So I don't know, but Hendry getting the big win. It was super necessary he gets this win, and he'll be going, I'm sure, like Nemeth the champion still, so spoiler alert, but I don't know. Hendry's around. They got to put the title on him soon. No, I think it only makes sense. Like, he's so fucking over, but then you have a guy like Nemeth who's, who else do you want to be your world champion when you're rebuilding TNA? So you're in a good position. These are good problems to have for TNA folks, okay? And then you got Josh, who he can put people over like Hendry, and it doesn't hurt him at all. He just had that phenomenal match with Nick Nemeth recently, and and Josh is saying things like, I should be the one in NXT. I should be the da-da-da-da-da. So that's not dead either. We can, and, Josh has been backstage at WWE shows and stuff. He could totally show up in NXT eventually. I see that happening, actually, because where does Josh go from here now, too? Maybe go show up in NXT and start taking his anger out on people over there. I could totally see it. And this is a phenomenal match. Again, just Joe Hendry's so humongously over right now. It's not even funny. It's not even fair to anyone else. But yeah, I implore you to go check it out. We had ABC take on the System, and the System actually won. Now I want the System to fucking disband here. I'm getting tired of this group. ABC though, they need to go to NXT, dude. They lost the TNA titles here. They won them. I think it was a third or fourth time.
Right.
These guys are, and I know it's easier said than done. Oh, come on now, Phil. You can't just send everybody over to fucking NXT. I get it. But these guys, again, they've wrestled every tag team. There's nothing for them to do in TNA. Somebody, Shawn Michaels, work it out. Get these boys in NXT, do some sort of thing where they do something with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, two generations of the Bullet Club, have them have a match, have them fucking align with each other maybe, and the Gallows and Anderson could call them their young boys or something, their young lions. I don't fucking know. Do something. Get them out of TNA, bro. Their time's up. They're a phenomenal tag team. The world's ready to see Bay and fucking ABC. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's that time. So great match though, but yeah, I'm not really into the system. I can't sit there and go, oh, I'm super into Eddie Edwards and Brian.
I like
Myers
Eddie Edwards. I'm going to be one of those people, those random people that actually likes Eddie Edwards. And
I love the Wolves, but
I think he plays such a good scumbag.
He does
that he just looks like he has a smell to him on television. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's a very stock heel in a lot of ways, but he plays it so well. It comes so naturally to him that I enjoy booing him, you know?
Yeah, I do too, I guess. But to me, it's just like, goddamn, I love the Wolves. I'll say that. To me, I'm just like, I'm so over this system group running shit in fucking TNA, but maybe that's a good thing because I want to see them lose, you know?
Right. Well, that's what it is. They're doing their job because now you're like, Jesus, get these guys away from TV. But it's like, that's what they're paid to do, and they're doing a good job of it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it's working. Jordan Grace and Wendy Chu, though, they had a solid match. Yeah. Wendy Chu, I mean, just an NXT challenger. They did the whole thing with Rosemary. If you guys aren't familiar, like Rosemary and Wendy Chu, the story is like they, I guess they could retcon and go back and even say like Rosemary's the reason Wendy Chu went all evil right before this invasion stuff has started happening. And basically Rosemary attacked Jordan Grace. She's next in line for Jordan Grace. It'll probably be Rosemary next. So awesome. But we need challengers for Grace. And she's going to be in NXT. She's leaving TNA, I think in January, her deal's up, or December. So just in time for that fucking Netflix Raw deal and everything. You know what I mean? So I could just see them even fast tracking her. Like Jordan Grace is already in NXT. So, like she's at the PC training. She's on NXT TV. I could just see them throwing her main roster right away too. But either way, that's fantasy mark booking for the future. Right now, Jordan Grace defends her title, of course, as she would. And Wendy Chu had a great showing, man. I like Wendy Chu. She had a great match at the last pay-per-view, too. Dave, for NXT. Dave Meltzer said it was like a 1.5 star or something like that. Whatever. His ratings are stupid, but Kalani and Chu had a fucking excellent wrestling match at No Mercy, dude. I don't care what anyone says. So this match was solid. Wendy Chu doing the job as she should, and then Rosemary comes out, attacks Jordan Grace some more. Frankie Kazarian comes out. He's doing like Chris Jericho's gimmick from a few years ago.
Nice.
Basically. And I don't know. He's making it work. He's over with the crowd. And then basically Moose and Nemeth throw down. Solid match. I spent a lot of time on Victory Road. Nemeth defeats Moose, and JBL comes out, clothesline from Hell's the shit out of Eddie Edwards.
Awesome.
Or I think it was Myers. So he punches Eddie, and then he just clotheslines. So JBL is just showing up in different wrestling companies, Mexico, MLW, fucking TNA. He's just clotheslining people. I love it, man. It's amazing. And it's amazing what WWE's doing with these legends and allowing them to show up different places and letting their talent work other places and, keeping people under legends deals who might show up in MLW or Bloodsport or whatever. But I just enjoy it so much. JBL's understands what to do as well. Like, he's not coming out as like the Wall Street Texan, guy. He's out here in a fucking, he's like doing the Jeff Jarrett, like he's the last desperado, he's out here fucking in a trench coat, a duster, and a fucking cowboy hat.
We need that last cowboy gimmick. And if anybody can do it, really is JBL. So he's kind of working the Clint Eastwood bit. So that's perfect.
I love it, man. Yeah, it's amazing. And so, yeah, he's here. He's aligned with Nemeth in some sort of way. He came out with him in Mexico as well. So it's just like, hopefully we get an explanation of like why JBL's just showing up clotheslining people, or maybe we don't. Maybe
right.
Know what
He
I
just
mean?
does it.
Maybe he's just like Sting. He just shows up and fucks people up, and you don't really know what's going on. But either way, what Moose won the first match against Nemeth, and then they were all involved in that 6-man scramble to where Moose was eliminated way before like 3 other people were still left in the match. Nemeth gets the win there over Alexander. Then Nemeth beats Alexander, and then in this rematch, Moose and Nemeth, the story was, Nemeth's like, hey, I gotta beat Moose. Like, you actually beat me when I came in. So he gets the dub. We'll probably see a trilogy is what I'm getting at. And I want to see TNA put on like a fucking cage match or something here soon too. They don't get too overly gimmicky. I know the Ultimate X is a little bit, I don't know. Overall, great show. They're cooking. Round of applause for speaking of cooking, Mish. Now you did watch Raw last night, correct? Yes. So, explain to the good folks who are tuning in, where are you at in wrestling fandom? Are you like, okay, I gotta watch NXT, I can't miss SmackDown, I do not watch AEW? Break everyone down. Like, what is your wrestling viewing fucking routine, or like, what is your can't miss stuff? What is the stuff you will not watch?
Well, the will not watch goes to AEW. I pretty much punched out after the whole CM Punk thing at Wembley, the first, obviously, All In, when they had it over there. Not because I'm such a stoic CM Punk fan, but everything since then has been just a train wreck after train wreck, from them showing the footage, all the backstage nonsense. The company really just, I don't like supporting it. I will still watch the PLEs because we have them up in our Discord. Wrestling Soup watches all the events that go on, but for the most part, I'm not really a fan of the regular shows. I don't watch Collision. Actually, AEW used to be fun, man. Like, it was fun watching Dynamite have its own wrestlers. When Collision came on, Collision had its own wrestlers, and it was almost like the fan base was split. There was like Collision fans versus Dynamite fans, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This was a lot of fun to watch. And of course, if it's fun in AEW, they got to get rid of it, and that's exactly what happened. And I stopped finding myself enjoying them, and every single time I started watching these shows, I just got more and more upset, and not angry, just upset, like, it's just another waste of time. But WWE, as far as WWE goes, I will Hulu SmackDown usually a lot of the time. I don't usually watch it live. Friday nights are a busy night in old Mish's personal life, and but I'll Hulu it. Raws I'll watch live. NXTs I'll usually watch in the chat along with a lot of other people and stuff like that. TNA I'll watch on. I subscribe to TNA. I'm trying to get their full package. I'll definitely get their full package with the pay-per-views, but I usually subscribe to the YouTube, so I'll watch the TNA events. But they happen right when we do our show too, so it's always a weird crossover having TNA start right in the middle of Wrestling Soup. But there it is. As far as independent stuff, I will randomly watch stuff. I mean, I will watch everything from classic Japanese wrestling to everything from Hustle and FMW to just random indie promotions that end up on the IWTV, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, man, it's I'm all over the place. There's nothing really hardcore I'm about. I love WoW. It's another weird one that I like to watch on occasion. I know that they're having a big event coming up with some changes, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Jeannie and the rest of the girls do over in WoW. But yeah, no, for the most part, I'm all over the place. But as far as mandatory watching, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Those are my mandatories.
Yeah, absolutely. So just you E-drone? Fed up pile, man.
I mean, I've only been watching them since I was like, 6. So, I mean, I'm 40 years above that. So,
yeah,
the best guy is Tony Khan.
We didn't even have the word drone when I started watching WWE. Come on.
Yeah, dude, you're an OG, man. You're way ahead of the curve, bro.
Yeah, I'm old. Oh, shit.
Well, no, man, you're like, dude, I stopped watching AEW around the Punk stuff, and it's like, man, there was still a lot of Klinger honors then, and you were again ahead of the times. But speaking of like WWE and routine appointment watching, Raw as of late, man, has been can't miss TV in my opinion. SmackDown not so much.
SmackDown is going through transition though too. Like I saw a lot of people pooping on them. Shitting on them.
Yeah,
because they had. I know sometimes I do these PG shows, and it's like I have to curb my language. But anyways. So I saw people shitting on the last SmackDown on Fox, and it's like it's the last one, guys. What did you think they were going to do? Bring out Hulk Hogan?
Mm-hmm.
You know
exactly. No, that's the point I've been raising too. It's nuts, man. Like they're switching to USA. So wait till, and even now, like SmackDown's still in a transition period. Once Raw is fully on Netflix, and then SmackDown is the full-blown face of USA, and they don't have literally Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all on USA at the same time. SmackDown will be the face of USA, and you'll see it ramp up again. But for a while there, SmackDown was the hottest show. So now Raw's the hottest show. It's ebbs and flows, guys,
Absolutely. And then there's the rumor there that SmackDown will eventually go to the 3-hour deal. I don't know if it's true or not, but I could see it happen. It doesn't seem far-fetched. So I absolutely agree with you. Once everything kind of transitions out by the new year, I think we'll have a better understanding of what levels all of these shows will pertain to in the future.
Man, I was saying too, what they could do is like present NXT as this is, because I've been saying for a long time, you need to get NXT off of TV. Like whatever your developmental is should not be on TV.
Right.
You needed, but maybe now the way they're looking at it is like, well, no, these indies and these other like house shows we're doing that are, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but maybe they're looking as like that's developmental. But I always say you need a developmental territory not on TV, because there's a lot of characters like Tiffany Stratton. She did a lot of some of her best shit in NXT where we won't ever see that again in the future. You had to be watching NXT. So my whole thing is like, maybe they elevate NXT to like an official third brand, like everybody's been saying, and maybe they just go full on because Dynamite is whatever, and maybe they like it is sort of going to be competing with the NXT on the CW. I guess everyone will be comparing the ratings, but maybe we see SmackDown and NXT superstars like switch back and forth more, and then Raw stays like its core Raw Netflix.
Do you think TNA has any play in there, because TNA has that deal with Ari Emanuel? They have that deal with TKO or whatever for TV rights.
Do I think they what? Sorry.
Do you think that there's going to be any crossover with TNA in this discussion?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, dude, TNA. There'll be TNA presence on the CW. Yes, and they'll be like, TNA. Well, that's what TNA's looking at too, dude. They're like, man, so what did you just say? They have some TV rights deal with Ari
there's some sort of a deal with Ari Emanuel. Obviously, he runs or owns WWE and UFC, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the network side, I think that it's TKO Holdings, which is one of the sub companies, is the one that has like a TV deal with TNA right now too. Like there's some kind of distribution or a TV deal with them.
Yeah, so I believe it has something to do with like Endeavor streaming or something. But listen,
Endeavor, yes, it was Endeavor. My bad. You're right.
Well, it's all the same shit.
Yeah, I know it's so many names, but
yeah. But here's the thing, man. If what you're saying is true, then that actually, I'm sitting here going, that makes so much sense, because now if you think about it, NXT will be on the CW going like, hey, there's TNA people and TNA, and then TNA is on fire right now, and then they start getting like, they're already on Access and they own that channel, they own that shit, right? So like Anthem does, so they don't need to get anywhere else. But just imagine if like, okay, WWE's talking about TNA on the CW, then they're blowing up, their ratings are getting bigger and better, maybe, and then TNA gets a big juicy fat TV deal themselves somewhere, and maybe that's what they're looking at, and maybe Ari Emanuel's 50 steps ahead of everyone on that, and that, because that would make sense why because what happened where all of a sudden WWE's like, yeah, we're working with TNA. Something just happened where it's like everyone's friends. Vince is gone. Yeah, fuck it. We love TNA. All the people who work here worked there before at one point, might as well, because they're on SmackDown calling Chelsea Green a former Knockouts champion and stuff.
Yes.
So it's, I mean, we're at the
they're
point
recognizing them, which is a real big step. I mean, even more so than the crossovers, the fact that they're recognizing the championships, the fact that they're recognizing the reigns. These are all very big deals, not just for TNA, but for the way that WWE presents its athletes, because they're not just, they were formerly a champion in another company. Now they were TNA Knockouts champion. It's like, oh, wow, you guys are giving credibility to TNA and to the wrestlers themselves.
It's amazing. But this Raw though cooked, and I think that's very interesting. That or no, what I was going to ask you is this though.
Sure.
Do you think that Raw has its own distinct roster for Netflix, and then like Legends, whoever comes back, and then SmackDown and NXT because since they're both on, just basically what WWE was before, normal television, if you want to refer to it as that. I think streaming's more normal now, but you guys get what I'm saying. Sure. Traditional television. Do you think NXT and SmackDown like swap their rosters? Like, okay, you get more NXT and SmackDown people crossing over, and then Raw is like this superstar Netflix show, and then obviously you have big stars on SmackDown. Or do you think they still keep it separate? Like, hey, Cody will be on SmackDown, and then we'll have one champion over on Raw. Like, or what happens to the tag titles? Like, do you think on SmackDown the women's tag champs are still floating over on Netflix Raw and stuff? Like, what do you think if you had to? Here, I'll give you an X-Files. I want you to predict and just talk about what you would do. I'm gonna give you an X-Files here. Here we go.
Honestly, this is totally fun. I love this aspect of fantasy booking. We don't get to do it a lot with a lot of fun behind it. There's so much in the future for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and TNA that it's even just the idea of what are they going to do with it is just the best part of actually discussing pro wrestling on podcasts. For Raw on Netflix, I'm a firm believer that they are going to go all out. And what I mean is I think that the production ideas will change. I think the way that we view Raw will change. Obviously, it's been floated into the ether that Raw might stay with the 2 hours once this October deal with USA finally erupts into January 1st. We're not really sure. I'd like to see them bring back overruns. I totally miss overruns. Give me the 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I'm okay with that. Give me 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Well, and what I said, and sorry not to interrupt, but I'll just throw this out there quickly, and then you just keep on, man, because I love what you're saying, dude. We're on the same wavelength here. What I said was, dude, what's fun about Netflix is one episode, it's just like Squid Game, bro. One episode might be 2 hours and 45 minutes. One episode might be 2 hours and 10. One might be 3 hours. Right. Oh, The Rock went over 10 minutes. Oh, well, now you got a 2 hour 15 Raw, right? They can play with it. It's Netflix. I love it.
They don't have the FCC to deal with. They don't have the network scheduling conflicts to deal with. They don't even have to worry about sponsors in the same way that network television and network wrestling does. So there's a lot of open doors for WWE Raw on Netflix that people haven't even really considered yet. That's why I think Raw is going to be almost not completely different in the sense that we don't recognize it, but there's going to be so much more that they can do that we haven't even thought of yet. But on that same note, when it comes to SmackDown will be full of gimmick matches, wrestlers coming back, legends. I think SmackDown is going to be the spotlight because it's going to be for the people that aren't on Netflix, which who the hell are those people? What person doesn't have
Everyone
Netflix?
Keeps saying that they don't get it. Netflix is people think that like Netflix is partnering with WWE. I see the marks online all the time. Yeah. They think that they're doing this to fucking get the wrestling fans to subscribe to Netflix. No, dude, they did the market research. Like every wrestling fan pretty much has fucking Netflix, and so they're trying to retain Netflix viewers now. They have these billions of or millions of subscribers all globally. They need to just keep those people now with a tier system, and their tier system, and with the addition of WWE, they fucking have spiked. They've raised like 40% in subscribers or something already right there with the tier system alone. I don't know if you can attribute any of that to WWE, but they're trying to retain all of these millions of people well. So
they know what they got. I mean, I don't know if you've been on your Netflix lately, but all I see on my Netflix is those commercials for the Vince McMahon documentary.
Yes.
Once again, not really attached to WWE, but it's totally attached to WWE. Let's be honest.
Yep.
And as far as the tier system and everything else, Netflix has done a good job of figuring out how to secure more of their viewers. So I don't know if you remember back in the day, but back in the day, you could buy a Netflix account for $1 and share it with 100 other people.
Yep.
You can't do that in 2024.
No.
Now they IP track you. So if you're out of the area, you're no longer part of the family unit. Like there's some wild like detection services they have. So they're finally figuring out ways to beat the people that stream this, you know, to their friends or give the password to their friends and stuff. So Netflix has already figured that out. They're also tackling a brand new game, and they're using WWE on the forefront to do it with the live streaming and everything else like that. This is Netflix taking steps to their future, regardless of WWE. This is them trying to obtain a different level of streaming service that Netflix before hasn't provided. So when you bring in WWE RAW over there, that is a big cape to wear on your shoulders. And WWE right now, especially with all the moves that they've been making, the changes that they've been doing, I see nothing but a positive coming from it. And when I was talking about SmackDown even a second ago, I think SmackDown is going to be for the people that aren't a part of Netflix, which is, let's be honest, they're going to push Netflix to hell and back on SmackDown because they want people to watch Raw too. And on SmackDown, you're going to get a lot of those gimmick matches. You're going to get a lot of spotlights. You're going to get a lot of surprises on SmackDown when you normally, these last few years, haven't really gotten those surprises on SmackDown. And NXT, I totally agree with you. It's going to be a third brand. It would be silly of them not to do it. And I almost feel in a way, and this is where I was trying to go with that TNA question a little bit earlier, with their correlation with Endeavor and Emanuel, etc. I think that TNA, even though they're on TV, they're available on YouTube. You can see them on Tubi. You can see them on their own channel. You can see them on their own website. I think TNA is the future for the development of a lot of wrestlers that will be coming up into NXT, that will eventually be coming up into SmackDown for the foreseeable future. So I think there's going to be a lot of changes, and that's why it's so difficult on one side to pinpoint what WWE is going to do, because the future is now. We really don't know what they can do, but we know that they have all the prospects and the avenues to do it. I know it sounds like it's coming from an e-drone, but when you really look at a bunch of promises saying, oh, we're going to get $5 billion in the next 5 years, this isn't some random stuff. This is WWE coming out with press releases and telling everybody this is already happening. The ink is already drying on the paper. WWE is going to Netflix. WWE is going to have SmackDown on USA. WWE is going to have NXT on USA and CW, sorry. They are branching out these new deals and these new avenues. And it's like, what else are you supposed to do? Think that all of this is going to bomb? Stop.
Dude, exactly. You nailed it, dude. You know what's amazing for me? I live in Canada, and so this deal that they did with Netflix in Canada, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs are all just on Netflix, dude. Give me a it's nice. Incredible, dude. Yeah, I fucking am so excited. But speaking of Raw, man, CM Punk. Well, let me ask you this really quickly. What is your keep sort of sidetracking? NXT's tonight. To me, appointment viewing, I gotta watch NXT, man. I love it. It's to me one of the best wrestling shows, period. Might be the best ones. Punk's gonna be on tonight to announce something. What do you think it's going to be? And then we'll obviously, you see Punk's cute mug here. We will review Raw, but what do you think Punk's going to announce on NXT tonight?
Man, I really don't know. NXT and Punk don't seem like they go hand in hand. Not that Punk isn't a guy there and help train the younger guys and everything else like that. And we've heard that before, that Punk has gone down to the Performance Center at NXT and stuff. But I don't know what CM Punk, the character, brings to NXT. That's new to me. So I really genuinely don't have any idea, unless he's going to try and face Drew, or maybe bring the Drew feud to NXT, which would be interesting considering both of their backgrounds. But man, I honestly feel I couldn't tell you what in the world CM Punk is going to bring to NXT tonight.
Yeah, maybe he just GTS's someone or something. Who fucking knows? Like, you just gotta have him come out and do the Stone Cold thing. Just come out and fucking hit someone with a move and be like, and by the way, I'm gonna I'll wrestle Oba Femi or something. Like, what could he announce? That's what I'm trying to think.
Something though, because it's a pretty big deal when you're shoving CM Punk down there. It's not like, hey, Baron Corbin's showing up. You're like, whatever. But CM Punk, like, I don't know.
That's why I'm thinking, like, does it have something to do with the fact that, hey, SmackDown and NXT are gonna cross over, or like maybe he announces like, yo, TNA versus NXT pay-per-view. I wrestled in TNA a long time ago, and and we're doing Invasion or fucking Worlds Collide, TNA versus NXT or something. Like, it's got to be something like that. I don't know, something to do with the fact, like,
I'm
or no,
almost
it's
thinking
just a
missed.
popper rating, I guess. I don't know.
Either that, or I'm thinking, considering it's CM Punk, it might have something to do with Chicago. He is obviously the Chicago icon for a lot of wrestling fans. I wouldn't be surprised if they mentioned something about NXT coming to Chicago, or maybe a special Chicago Street Fight or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's not going to be CM Punk the character, then you have to look at what he represents. And being a Chicago guy, that's the only other thing I could possibly think of.
So what do you think about Raw, sort of, like, okay, people have been taking pictures of WWE's tarped off sections or empty sections, and people saying, oh, the ratings are down, because these Raw ratings have been down, or not even down, but just like it is down a bit, but there's lots of sports and stuff going on. And I've said it a million times, most AEW fans don't watch other sports, and they do watch WWE as well. Most WWE fans do watch other sports, and they don't watch AEW. Does that make sense? What I just said? So totally. To me, that's how it is. That's how, and I think that is proven. No, like,
well, it's proven exactly in the point where you just said it. WWE is for mainstream audiences. You can find random people on the street that, even if they're not watching today, they can spit off something that happened in WWE, and you don't have to go back to Hogan and Andre to get it either. Like, there's a lot of people that watch WWE almost like ebbs and flows. That's a lot of WWE fandom, because WWE does appeal to that mainstream audience. They do appeal to those casual fans. And as much as the AEW diehards can make fun of those casual fans bring in money. And AEW only submits themselves to such a niche audience, such a small resolve of wrestling fan. And it keeps getting smaller as per the ratings, as per even social media interactions. It seems like overall the AEW discussion gets smaller and smaller by the week, and it's not necessarily because AEW isn't an alternative product to WWE. A lot of people believe that it is. It's the fact that the fan base itself and the wrestlers and the talent are appealing to such a small demographic. I mean, who does the demographic for guys getting stuck in the cheek with a syringe appeal to, as far as wrestling fans go? It's like the deathmatch style, that, you know what I mean? But you start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I wasn't a fan, and I have a family, obviously, but I wasn't a huge fan of the PG era of WWE. I know it was for the kids and everything else like that. And I understood that. It wasn't my favorite time in WWE, and it wasn't a lot of people's favorite time in WWE, but I understood what it was for. And now that WWE gets a chance to go to Netflix and everything else like that, they have a chance to be edgier. They have a chance to do things that push the narrative of more creative storylines, not necessarily more flagrantly foul or audibly audacious kind of storylines, but more in the lines of maybe pushing more adult type storylines, things that make people think or scratch their heads or wonder or confuse as to who the heel and the baby face is, when maybe the fans are getting lied to. Like, there's so many avenues that WWE would take these generosities that they've been given and explore upon it, where AEW takes those generosities that they have even with Warner Brothers today, and they narrow it down further and further until they alienate their own audiences. So WWE, as you were originally saying, showing these areas that are completely tarped off, Phil, absolutely. It happens in every city. It happens in every sport. There are just times where WWE is going to be hotter. The events that are presented are going to be hotter. Look, they don't give you a ton to work with. A lot of the times when I'm over here by the Allstate, I'm literally 5 minutes away from the Allstate here in Chicago. And I'll go by there and I'll be like, oh, look, NXT is coming to Chicago. And that's all it says. It doesn't say, hey, you got to check out this one. You really got to check out this one. Like, it doesn't tell you that. So there's people that are going to sleep on it thinking, oh, it's just going to be a house show. Like, they'll think it's equivalent to a house show. And then when they miss it, how many of those people that could have bought tickets are kicking themselves, Phil? How many? So, yeah.
Oh, man. When you're right, you're goddamn right.
Much love, dude.
God, so I don't know. You dropped some gems there, and I'm just thinking, like, at what point I feel like WWE aged up with their audience from the PG era too?
Sure.
And it's like, at what point though does it become like, oh, WWE's not cool again? You know, I don't know if that, you know, maybe that day never comes. Maybe they figured it out, and
Everything is ebbs and flows, my dude. Everything is ups and downs.
It's just
It's
so
peaks and
mainstream again
valleys.
right now. It's so mainstream again right now, and it's just so cool to see that, because like you said, man, like you could walk down the street and people, I don't know, like my brother stopped watching wrestling a billion years ago, and he sends me shit all the time now, like, oh, did
Nice.
you see? Like he thought that this is how good they've been doing. He thought that when AJ Styles and LA Knight fought each other at WrestleMania last year and were like brawling at the fan thing, he thought it was real. To this day, he's like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
those guys were
awesome.
fighting. Yeah, that's my brother. He's an adult dude. Like, he stopped watching wrestling just so long ago. But it's things like that that are making him go, oh shit, or he sees The Rock and he's like, damn, like what's all this shit The Rock's talking over here? You know, who's this dude he's whooping? I'm like, that's Dusty Rhodes' kid, man. Come on now, you know?
Absolutely.
So
My brother did the same thing. He jumped back in when Cody Rhodes became champion and started retconning everything that happened with Cody Rhodes since he left AEW. Because once again, just like your brother, they come and they go, and when they come back, they're excited to be here. It seems like there's a lot of WWE fans coming out of the woodwork, like I was saying even earlier, man. It's just it's that time. They're doing such big changes. Like, how do they not notice? Once again, Netflix. Who the hell doesn't own Netflix in 2024? You know?
Bro, and casuals are the lifeblood of every industry. Do you know what I mean? Like, your diehards are your diehards, right? So of course you need to cater to them, a little, like, not a little, like, no, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like fucking
well, that's how you can gauge you're doing a good job, Phil, is when you hit an episode and you talk about a topic and you'll get 100,000 views. And then next week you'll just do a regular episode, and not taking anything away from the episode, but depending on what you talk about, depends on how many people that view. So maybe you only get 20,000 that week. It doesn't mean that you've done a bad job. It just means that, hey, look, what were we talking about when we got 100,000 viewers? Maybe we should talk about that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because so it's every industry is mostly catering to casuals while taking care, let's say, of their hardcores, you know, even everything, movies, McDonald's, comic books, like, well, you know, everything, every industry, they do fucking cell phones, everybody, they're trying to appeal to the masses, but take care of the core people they know are going to be there for them, you know? So I don't know. It just only makes sense. But speaking of which, Raw, they delivered, man, a phenomenal episode. We're on Bleacher Report here. So the matches that were lined up, you see them here. We'll talk about them. But the CM Punk kicked off the show. He hops out of his car, walks right to the ring. The camera follows him the whole way. And he just cuts this fucking amazing promo about how they're in Hell in a Cell coming up at Bad Blood, McIntyre and Punk, and that, you know, he just basically rebutted to what Drew said last week. You know, fucking responded to each note, and then he just sort of seemed a little unhinged. He said, yeah, I'm going to make you bleed. I promise you're going to have, he's like, I can't promise I'll kill you, but I promise you'll have to kill me for me to lose. And so I think that kind of spoils it that Punk's going to win. But I've had a career, and if this ends, so be it. If you're prepared for this to be the end of Drew McIntyre, then I'll see you in hell. Mish, you don't seem so into it.
No, man. I love CM Punk. You have to understand how long I've been a fan of this guy. I mean, I remember watching him back in Steel Domain Wrestling. Like, I go back with CM Punk. But this promo, as much as people loved it, I wasn't feeling it. This is not the CM Punk I know. And the response I got was, well, what do you want? The CM Punk that was kissing people's asses? And I'm like, yes, because it felt like he was lying to all of us. It felt like he was working everybody. But this weird dynamic of CM Punk being the grizzled veteran and talking about, you're going to have to kill me. I'm going to murder you. Like,
I hate that too.
It's like nails on a chalkboard to me when it comes to wrestling, and CM Punk knows better than that. So I don't know what this is supposed to build up, and I'm happy that so many people are into it. That's awesome. I was just like, This would be great if it was coming out of Bronson Reed. This would be great if it was coming out of insert actual killer wrestler here, like a Steiner, you know, like Braun Steiner. But coming out of CM Punk, it was odd, and it didn't sit right with me. Not taking anything away from the guy, it just wasn't his promo.
Damn. I like your take. Yeah, I didn't like that because when he started doing like I have to die or whatever, I went, yo, he's winning the match, because you're not allowed to say that. You can't be like, I'm gonna kill you, then not kill the guy.
Right.
You know, you can't be like, you're gonna have to kill me, and then like you die. You know,
that was over dramatic for a guy who sticks his feet firmly into telling truths.
Yeah.
And it was just weird. It's like, well, this is the furthest thing from telling truths, you know? It's I wasn't sure if it was
you're goddamn right. I like that.
Punk cutting the promo or Phil Brooks, you know?
Yeah. Oh man. So we had a grudge match here. Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, friend of Dunn. I call him Dunne all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Butch. So yeah, I don't know. It was a solid match, honestly. And then Dooner got the win over Sheamus, which I actually couldn't believe, but they're building Dunn up, man. He's got wins over Trick, Sheamus. They're kind of whatever they see in him. They're pushing him. Bring back the Cruiserweight title. That's what, no, people don't like that shit. But so solid match. And then backstage, we had Xavier Woods asking Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Jey Uso to let him and Kofi handle their business with the Judgment Day. And Damian agreed, and we had throughout the show also Rhea thirsting over Jay, and we see some, dissension within the New Day, where teasing some split ups. We'll get to that as we go, but the seeds are being sown, and then this leads into also like the end of the show, which was a phenomenal ending as well. But anyways, your thoughts on the Sheamus Dunn match, and then just sort of the backstage stuff going on.
Sheamus Dunn is perfectly fine. I don't like the Dunn gimmick. I didn't see anything wrong with the Butch gimmick, but the fact that Butch thought that Sheamus was calling him bitch for the last 2 years, fine. But I don't like the Dunn gimmick, but Pete Dunne is fine as a wrestler. I have zero problems with what he does in the ring. I just think that the gimmick that he's with right now is just really far-fetched, a little bit of a stretch. But I like Sheamus and Dunn. They work well together. They're both willing to give it to each other. And I like seeing Sheamus back out in the ring too. So yeah, no, the match was perfectly fine. I had no problem with it. It leads to future matches between them. Obviously the blow off of the pay-per-view. So as far as the Xavier Woods, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess I know you're going to talk about Xavier Woods in a second. But they've been, I can't help but think, because they lost their fourth New Day member, that a lot of things have been mixed up real quick, to put that as lightly as I can.
Yeah, the whole Odyssey Jones thing was that's weird how that just came and went. Like, they waited so long to use the dude on TV. They used the dude on TV, and then 2 days later, they discovered that, you know what I mean? A week later, they find this stuff out about him that's whatever. Like, I don't want to speculate on, but we covered it on the show already. But yeah, there was this Twitter account, like, forever tagging WWE and stuff and everything. And I don't know. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, what happened? How didn't they see that before? How did that fuck up happen? That to me is the biggest botch in the Triple H era, is that little whatever the fuck happened with Odyssey Jones there for that few weeks. But whatever. It's in the past, and I don't know how they're sort of like tying the New Day into this Judgment Day stuff to salvage it and still get maybe Xavier Woods joins the New Day. I mean, the Judgment Day. Do you think that could happen?
Yeah, maybe that might be the direction. I mean, they've been playing with Xavier Woods joining up with Cross's group first, and now they might even play with him joining up in the Judgment Day. Xavier Woods just feels like he's all over the place. And yeah, the Odyssey Jones thing is just such a mess. And I feel so heartbroken for Big E above everybody else, because I guess that was his protege. Like, Odyssey Jones was the guy he was training in there. So it's like, oh my God, what a mess.
Who was training in there?
Wasn't it Big E? Big E was training Jones?
Like, for real? And because dude, I
thought it was more than, I mean, obviously on the TV, on the storyline, it was that way too, but I thought it was in real life too he was training.
Well, yeah, dude, because if you watch that show NXT or like WWE Next Gen or whatever, like Big E's down there scouting. Yeah. He's helping WWE and Shawn Michaels like scout future talent. He probably would never wrestle again, dude, you know? And so I totally believe that if they had Odyssey Jones working with Big E, like for shoot as well, not just storyline, I totally would believe that because he is like helping determine who the fuck they sign and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And of course, obviously, who would know better what the New Day is than Big E? So it's like, if anybody I feel crushed for, it's got to be him because he had to believe in that kid so much for all of that just to get wiped away after a week, you know. But
over like what too? We don't even fucking know. Like I don't even know what it's. I don't know.
I've
I
heard the rumors. I'm sure you've heard the rumors too.
Yeah, like, well, the person tweeting's just like, he beat me up on vacation a bunch. And it's like, well, okay. Now, are you a person? Like, it's like a fake Stan account. So it's like, how real is this? Right. And then they must have looked into it more and found something out of nowhere. How weird is the timing that fucking they just use him on TV? And then they discover 2 days later? Like, how didn't they know before? That's what it just was baffling to me. So not to shit all over WWE, I don't think it happened, but it's crazy. It's such like a wild thing, you know? So I don't know. And I'm hoping the New Day can pull it together because it's kind of like, okay, you guys are forcing this breakup now because the Odyssey Jones thing fucked up. And it's like, all right. It's unfortunate, but I don't know. And just, I don't know, prayers for Big E, I guess. In all of this, because he's obviously got to be going through it. We had Natalya versus Zoe Stark. I'm kind of into Zoe Stark a little bit. I like Natalya; she's a legend in my mind. But it was just a solid match, like TV match, you know, nothing super incredible. I'm not into the name Pure Fusion Collective. I don't think I ever will be. But you know,
they were doing really bad with the names. What was the other one? Street Trash, and now they have the Terror Twins. WWE has some awful names lately. I don't know what's going on with the
names have been used though. Like, what would you call your fucking faction? You know?
Oh, it's something better than Pure Fusion Collective.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd come up with something better than that. Let's be honest. But yeah, so it is what it is, and so why is Stark losing here? So these are the notes from Bleacher Report, guys. Not your boy Phil Marks, but why is she not making a star for herself right now? She's a star of the future and someone who has more to offer the division than she is currently allowed to, even as a member of Pure Fusion. So this person here, Bleacher Report, they really want to see Zoe Stark break out here. During a backstage confrontation, Finn Balor revealed to Rhea Ripley that he was the devil on Dom's shoulder who pushed him towards Liv Morgan, which we obviously know, but I like that WWE pays it off for the audience by now having Finn admit that to Rhea at some point to her face in some fashion. You know, it's not just like, oh, well, we knew and you knew, didn't you know? Like it's, you know, let's pay it off on TV. Anyways, and then Jey Uso interrupts and his gear's looking fresh, dude. I'm going to cop me one of those new Jey Uso shirts with the pink on it and shit. Man. Oh, I love it, man. And he continued making moves on Mommy, headed to the ring, and Uso has what the kids would call Riz in spades. He is a star. Yeah, the crowd was so into his entrance. They cut to commercial. But before that, your thoughts on Natalie Zoe and your thoughts on, again, the backstage, the whole romance, love triangle quartet. I don't know, you know.
Zoe and Natalya was a fine exhibition match. That's what it was. You know, Bleacher Report has their own slant on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Yes, Zoe should be a big star down the road, but I don't think she's there yet. And I don't think there's anything wrong with her having exhibition matches to keep her on TV. There's a lot of time on Raw right now, or at least when this was recorded with the 3 hours, that they still have to fill up, and there's nothing wrong with having those exhibition matches. The Pure Fusion Collective is a silly name, of course, and eventually she'll get to that point, but it isn't what it is right now. As far as the love triangle, I'm okay with it. I enjoy the fact that Jay's getting a part of Ripley's life, and I liked Finn coming out as almost more sinister than even Dominic. Like, Dominic has been the big heel for everybody up front. You know, obviously him screwing around with Liv behind Ripley's back. And then obviously, you know, them beating her down multiple times over the weeks. But the fact that Finn came out face to face and said it was me all along, you know, that was a big deal because Finn Balor is never, he doesn't always feel like he's the biggest heel in the yard, but now he has a reason for Ripley to really hate him. Like almost their relationship could have been salvaged before this point. And now that Finn came out and said, yeah, you know what? Dominic wouldn't have cheated on you if I didn't keep giving him Liv's number. Dominic wouldn't have cheated on you if I didn't tell him go hit that because that wants some. Like now Ripley has a real reason to not just hate Dominic for being an idiot, but to also hate Liv, which, by the way, I don't know, Phil, if you've ever watched, but there's nobody in the business, in the wrestling industry, that takes a ring post better than Liv Morgan. I'm telling you,
are you for real?
The way her head bounces off the ring post on the outside, it's a work of art. It is chef's kiss. Go back and watch any of those moments where Ripley throws Liv Morgan into the ring post, and you will see true selling. True selling unbeknownst to any other faction in wrestling. It is wonderful to watch. But as far as the love triangle goes, I'm all for it. It makes perfect sense. It got Finn over with being more of an asshole, more of a heel. Ripley now doesn't feel like she's still kind of lost in the sauce, if you will. She's got more of a clear head. She knows who her enemies are. There's no second guessing from her, even though obviously later on in the night we see them get beat down again. It'll come to fruition where Ripley and obviously Damian Priest get their own too. And Jey Uso kind of being the backup right now, even making the jokes where Ripley's like, did you hear that? Do you believe that? He's like, what? You're out of my league? Like, he was making jokes about it, even though clearly the fans, us, and Jey Uso knew what she meant. But it's kind of like what the good guy does, is he sidetracks from the actual damage and tries to make somebody laugh and feel good for a second before getting to the meat of the problem. So the way this is all being developed, I mean, dare I say, Phil, it's being developed storyline-wise or creatively-wise by people that have had bad relationships.
Yeah, like they get it, man. Same with the bracelet thing. Everyone, the bracelet, and people breaking up. It's like, bro, have you never lived a life, man? Like you break. That's the shit that everyone can relate to. Yeah. No one can relate to doing a power bomb to a cinder block to a fucking hypodermic needle.
I've never licked a dude's blood,
bro. People don't fucking relate to that. And invading baby cribs, sociopath, fucking weird freaks relate to that. What normal, regular people relate to, who like watch sports and date girls and fucking have kids or families or go on trips or whatever. I don't know, just people doing normal shit. Not saying like whatever. Right. But you guys get what I'm saying. We're all sickos. We love wrestling. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, this shit is what I can relate to, right? I've been in love. I've strived to be the best at something. I've fucking failed. I've had this happen. I've taken the girl. I've had the girl taken or whatever. All of these things are things people can relate to. God damn it. It's like, how the fuck have we gotten so far gone to where we don't understand why the shit, a lot of the stuff AEW's doing has been left in the indies. And the indies, even the indies started leaving a lot of that shit behind, Yep. Because, I don't know, it can work in small doses, or when you seek those things out, it's great, but if it's, I don't know, when you're putting on a show this.
You also need to have people, Phil, that will absolutely go full effect into that storyline. Like Liv Morgan, honestly, I am not a huge fan of hers at all.
Me neither. I'm honest to God not. But she's great in ring. Like, as far as the selling, I agree with you. Her selling's top notch. I don't know as far as you went there, Mish, but
oh no, the ring post thing is funny because every single time Ripley throws her into a ring post, she flies off of it. Like, it's amazing how hard she takes that ring post. It's pretty wild. But no, it's more of a joke because for Liv Morgan, I've never been a fan. Like, I've just never been on team Liv Morgan. I wasn't one of the one of hers. But for the most part, in this storyline, for whatever reason, Liv Morgan understands the assignment. Rhea Ripley understands the assignment. Dominic Mysterio understands the assignment. And they do they almost act like they're friends in the real world, that they're able to get this kind of emotion out of themselves for the show. It's great. You love to see it. Professionals being professionals.
Hell yeah. So Uso and Braun Breaker have like a promo. This is pretty good stuff, man. Breaker's like stepping above and beyond what I thought he was gonna ever be. I'm not gonna lie, like, he's good on the mic and shit. He kind of plays to the crowd. Where's the dog? How he shouldn't be doing that. I don't think he should do that if he's healing. I just don't. I think that's like, save that for when because that natural babyface turn, because it happened in NXT already. That's why NXT shouldn't be on fucking TV, dude. Because he already went heel babyface.
Right,
you know, he's already done a bunch of shit. I've seen it already. But when that natural babyface turn happens on the main roster, it's gonna be so big, dude.
Oh, he is so
up.
great. He's one of those guys that you rarely find that is a better baby face than a heel. People would rather cheer for should I say Steiner? People would rather cheer for Steiner than boo him. And I know he's the heel right now because he's playing the cocky, arrogant guy, but that doesn't matter. People want to cheer for him. And like you said, as soon as he comes out with "Where's the dogs at?" all you heard in that audience was people woof, woof, everywhere. Yeah. It was great, man. It's great.
Yeah. So this match is going to go down at some point. And Uso took a shot at his NFL career. This is a good, I don't know, man. The crowd was so into it. Both guys, again, knew the assignment, as Mish said previously. And Jay is just over like Rover. And that shirt is so drippy, dude. I'm copping me one of those ASAP. So, yeah, it was good stuff. And then, Breaker said shit like, I didn't need my dad. I didn't need the name. You're nothing without your family, etc. So, World Tag Team Championship match, New Day versus Judgment Day. Mind you, I need to say this too. Tessitore was fucking amazing this Raw. At first, the first episode was okay. I think this is his third, right? So second one was, it was like, okay, he's starting to kind of come into it, but it's still not quite there. This one, he was on point, I feel, with everything. So third time's the charm, I guess. And him hyping up this match, him laying down the stats, like, yo, this is Judgment Day's first defense, etc. New Day, there's turmoil between them. Of course, these four stellar performers. This isn't like, I don't know. You feel like they're saving more. We could maybe revisit this match, before the split actually happens between Xavier and Kofi, but it's happening, man. We're going to get like an Xavier versus Kofi.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
No, it's coming.
What is it? What am I talking about? Program is the word I'm looking for. But anyways, so there a bunch of shenanigans goes down. The LWO gets involved. So, I don't know. I think on a PLE, we could see this rematch between these two teams and see a lot more happen. A lot of people are tired of Finn and JD's reign already, even though they haven't even defended once. I don't know. I say leave the belts on them for a while yet. New Day, I want to see these Kofi and Xavier get in a singles program and feud each other, honestly. But the LWO come out. Xavier later in the show, like I think they go to commercial, they come back, so New Day loses, and then Xavier is like getting mad at the LWO, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, why did you guys get involved? You cost us the belts." Kofi's like, "Nah, dude, I told them. I was the one who told them to come out there, like, whatever." And then, Xavier, they get in just a tremendous back and forth, and it's emotional, it's powerful, guys. And Xavier's like, or somebody says, it'll say down here, sorry, somebody's like, we can't do it without Biggie. Since Biggie's been gone, we've been whatever, right? So, and then they're like, oh, really? Since Biggie's been gone, So I don't know, man. Great stuff. It makes sense to the audience. If you've been fans of these guys for a long time, it's like, it's sad, but they'll reunite when they're fucking going in the Hall of Fame. They'll reunite one time at a WrestleMania or something. Like, I know it sucks, but if Biggie's never going to wrestle again, you don't just have these two guys tag more. Like, they have more to offer, especially Woods, than he's gotten to show in WWE. So fucking let them have a program. Let Woods get serious heel heat. Let him completely transform, turn into the Apollo Crews. Or the Apollo Creed, rather, like old school Austin Creed that we, let him be that asshole. Yeah. We already got one of those, but yeah. So I don't know your thoughts on all that storyline and just the match in general.
It's fantastic. I mean, it honestly is the end of the New Day. Whew. Like that's going to be a special. That's going to be the title of a special. Is the end of the day. Maybe not even the New Day, just the end of the day. Yeah. And you're talking about guys that have been in for 14 years themselves. So it's like they've been around for so long, and it's kind of a sad story because obviously Big E was the linchpin in all of this. storyline wise, in the real world, it's sad because of what Big E's actually going through. But as far as the storyline goes, I mean, it's you're talking about a tremendous term of events that has finally come to this.
Right.
And in a weird way, with them even trying to get in the fourth member or whatever, and that not working, isn't it almost more poetic that it didn't work out? Isn't it almost more poetic that all of this ends the way that it does after so many years of being that positive force, of being the consummate baby faces, no matter where they were, no matter what situation, whether they were champions, whether they were losing, fans always had a good time when they came out there. People loved them. They adored them. They had that Cena appeal without any of the Cena heat. They were the consummate good guys. And now it ends like this. Like this is the beginning of the end, if not the very end. I don't know, man. That's like pro wrestling in a nutshell right there. That's literally the story of watching an entire career with three men just finally come to an end,
Man, but wait till the packages, they do the promo packages, the promo battles in the ring, back and forth, where Xavier's like, or they show the lineage, and he's like, I carried the team, and all that old school shit,
No, of course.
I would love to see him come out and do his like Austin Creed sort of like dancing around, like sort of the alley kind of like I'm an asshole, like I'm whatever, like on my own I became the king of the ring, whatever. When I was with you I was just playing a trumpet, like now they play trumpets for me and stuff, that sort of thing. I just hopefully that all comes about. I can't wait for that, and you have all of that background stuff of them being together and friends, and I don't know, and they'll hopefully have good matches against each other, right? So anyways though, so the video for the Wyatt 6 airs as well, completed with a QR code, and then you follow it and it says you speak, we follow. Okay, they're still doing that. And what do you think the Wyatt 6 moves on to next?
I think they're going on tour with My Bloody Valentine, and then
Guar next week. And
I mean, I liked the idea of the Wyatt 6. Joe and I were very verbal about not liking the supernatural stuff. One of the good things that they did, especially when they had the match against American Alpha last week, was they clarified that they're not doing the supernatural stuff anymore, which I'm a huge fan of. I like them being a ragtag group of people together, but we need more. We need more direction. I need more than just a QR code, guys. Like, they need to figure out, because they have these creative ideas, and obviously it's all inspired, by, the former Wyatt. But at the same time, it's like you guys need to develop more of a personality. We need a reason for you guys to be the Wyatt 6. You need to give us more of a reason why, because it's not exactly like it's a new extension of the Wyatt family. It's a completely different thing. And I feel like once they got past this Chad Gable thing, it's like, now what are you? So I don't know, man. Phil, I'll be honest, I'm really lost as to what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I definitely don't know what would be next for them too. Like, okay, you beat Gable, so what's another group you could go after? Who's somebody they went after Gable? Why? Because he stopped saying thank you, is essentially, to boil it down in layman's terms. He lost his smile and stopped appreciating the people. Otis. And so so it's like, so then do they go after Xavier next because he is getting mad at Kofi, or do they go after people? Like
on Xavier, like that's rough too, man.
Yeah, so it's like, what do they do? Like, who do they go after? Bronson Reed, who's on the screen because he's destroying Braun, and he decided I'm gonna go evil and stuff. But then do they beat this monster that they're building right now? I just don't know what the.
But the weirdest thing too, Phil, like you just pointed it out though too, them going after these monsters, the funny thing, or the ironic thing, and I don't know if it's intentionally meant to be so, but if you go back into their dais of like little creative clips and Bo sitting there talking to Uncle Howdy and them going into the details of what the Wyatt 6 are, they're supposedly all crazy evil monsters too. Yeah. From Eric Rowan, and like it's weird. It's like, so you have monsters hunting monsters. Is that where we're at right now? Like I said, I don't understand what they're going to do with them. They need to figure it out fast, though.
They really, really do. And my suggestion: send them to fucking SmackDown.
There you go.
And give LA Knight some people to fight, dude, because we he got need some motherfuckers to fight. But yeah, dude. So next we got Strowman and Bronson Reed. I mean, what can we say? This was like the best this was just two big kaijus fucking throwing down. Yes. This was Godzilla versus King Kong. So the match starts. I think they're reinforcing the ring, whatever. They go, oh, we reinforced the ring or whatever, or we didn't get a chance to, whatever. Fucking dude hits the rope or the buckle. The top buckle falls off, so the ring's destroyed. I wish I could just play the fucking segment. You guys see out here, this is like a minute into the top buckle falling off the ring. Jonah's on the outside. Sorry, I keep calling him Jonah because I'm a fucking mark, but Bronson Reed's on the outside.
Oh, Jonah's great.
Yes.
Sorry.
They're both called Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. It's like, fuck, you know, then we said Braun Breaker. Right. You're all in the same show, dude.
Braun Breaker. They need to get away from the B guys.
Yeah, this is like my GM mode, okay? Switch dude to Steiner, okay? And fucking call one of these guys Strowman. Just call Braun Strowman. And just call Bronson Reed Jonah, okay? And then we Yep. Anyways, though, I'm just joking. But yeah, so then you know, he fucking there's a choke slams hit, dudes on the outside. Fucking, you know, Bronson Reed goes outside. He lawn darts a fan who sold it like $1 billion too. Whoever that fan was, or if that guy was a worker, kudos, man. That was amazing. Lawn darts him at Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman goes down. Bronson Reed's like taunting or whatever. He's like working the crowd over by the timekeeper and all that. You know, out of nowhere, you got Braun Strowman runs around, does his spear move or his big shoulder tackle through the barricade. They go through, they go backstage, they're slamming. They do the spot again where Bronson runs off the thing and jumps through the table onto fucking Braun, you know, while he's standing there, which is an awesome spot. They did it through the announce table last week, and then this week they did it backstage. And then you have I don't know, man. It's just amazing. The camera's going down. They go through a fucking wall. And then the shot was perfect, too. But it was so dangerous. You could tell they didn't plan this because unless maybe they did. And like they just gimmicked it up Hollywood style. But at one point, like they go through a wall to the outside of like the building. And fucking... And then like 2 seconds later, like the camera's sort of panning in on the frame where they're both tumbled out with everything just collapsed around them. And it's like 10 seconds later, maybe not that long, maybe 5 seconds later, a bunch of like toolboxes full of shit just start falling, like and hitting the ground, like 3 of them, dude. And you're like, there's no way they planned that because like you fucking kill somebody doing that. So,
no, for sure,
dude. So it just that alone, it just added realism to it. You're like, holy shit, dude, it's actually dangerous back there, you know, like and I don't know. They go outside. Bro, it was just phenomenal. Like it was a no contest. This guy gives it an A+. Of course, this was like when you back in the day, like Kane and Vader wrestled, loser has to take their mask off. This is what it should have been. You know what I mean? Right. This is like what that should have been, but it wasn't.
It feels like the viciousness, the visceralness of these matches that these two have had. I mean, you start with the car spot that they had a few weeks back. Like everything has been ramping up, Phil. Like everything feels more dangerous, more vicious. Like it reminds me of even Drew and Sheamus back during the COVID days when they would just beat each other bloody for literally exhibition matches, but they were just beating each other bloody. That's what Braun and Bronson feel like. There's just this two big guys that hate each other and want to physically beat each other. You're not watching this match to see a Texas cloverleaf. You're not watching this for a series of missile drop kicks. You're watching this to watch two guys beat the plunder out of each other, to actually beat fucking coins, Sonic the Hedgehog coins out of their asses. It is fantastic. I love this kind of wrestling. This is what appeals to me. I want this to continue every week for the rest of the year. If I had my way, this would be the next match for every Raw, every SmackDown you could possibly put on. These guys perform very well together. I remember when they were first pairing them up, I wasn't sure what was going to happen because my big problem was these guys are moving too fast. My very original complaint was, man, Bronson Reed, I know he can move fast. I've seen him. I've seen him as Jonah. He can move really fast for a guy his size. He doesn't need to, though. And Braun Strowman is another guy. He can move really fast, doesn't need to, though. And I felt like on Monday we had bursts of speed and then slow down and pacing. And I'm like, wow, that's perfect. Because it made the impacts, the strikes, and everything else look gorgeous. And when they had to slowly get up, when they were getting up from the fucking the area around ringside and stuff like that, and it was taking them a couple minutes, I'm like, that's what it should be. You shouldn't be facing 400 pounds of meat and getting right back up in 2.2 seconds. Hell no. That
Let
shit
the audience digest it. Yes, as well. We get the chance to digest it and go, holy fucking, look around and tell, you seeing this shit? Oh, I got to tweet this shit, bro. Are you seeing this? This is crazy. And then you lock back in. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? I love it, dude. It was mayhem, but in the best way. It was not hokey in any way. I love it, and I agree with you. And think about this, man. This match at Bad Blood, you got the Punk Drew. Like, you just got fiery feuds. You got Rhea and Liv, whatever's going to pop off there, dude. You just got fiery feuds leading into this Bad Blood. Just such a apropos name, and they fucking have done such a good job of letting us know, like, that's the theme of the pay-per-view, is these fucking heated rivalries. There's no Hell in a Cell pay-per-view anymore. You're going to get one here. There might not be an Extreme Rules pay-per-view anymore either. You might going to get that here. You're going to see Bronson and Braun fucking flying through tables and shit. You know, it's going to be awesome. So I don't know, dude. What a segment. Like, I couldn't blow it enough. And the fan throw. I typically hate shit like that because it's too cheesy. You involve the fans. Right. This was not, man. It just
because they feel like they're so both of them feel like they're unhinged.
Bro, it feels dangerous, man. It's all just like, get out of the way. You know, you see these two fighting, get out of the way. I love it.
That's like that old joke. Where does an 800-pound gorilla sit? Anywhere he wants. Like, that's what that match feels like.
Yeah, I love it. So, Sami Zayn comes out, cuts a promo, and basically he's going to fight Gunther now for the World Heavyweight title. Obviously, Gunther's going to beat him, I feel, and get his win back over Sami. It makes sense because Sami dethroned him for the IC. Then you get a bigger match down the line, whether it's for a belt or not, with these guys. I don't know. I'm just a little over the Sami Gunther stuff, but I get why they're doing it, and because you need to, like, Gunther doesn't have a lot of opponents either, so you need to kind of repeat some of these, and also, like, Sami has the win over Gunther. I know Gunther beat him before, so maybe this is the trilogy, but as far as for the title, you know, like, fucking, it's like Gunther wants to get that one back, and he'll get it back. And they're elevating Kaiser through all of this, and it was just a good little back and forth. And let's see here. At least I have the balls to speak for yourself. At least have the balls to speak for yourself. Right. Zayn told Kaiser. He's speaking for Gunther. And then they did a great little swerve here where Gunther comes out and he goes like, do you have something to say? And then Kaiser's like, I've wanted to say this for a long time. Yeah. And then he just turns around and knocks Sami, stomps him out, which is hilarious and obvious what they were going to do. And but it was like the right, obvious, good thing. It was like, yes. Don't even build, like, that's just bullshit tension. We have the New Day splitting up. We don't need more of that over here. Like, just, you know, like, obviously Kaiser's loyal to Gunther. That'll fucking never change. Even if Kaiser splits off as his own single, I could see that because they're on different brands and then they never be. Maybe one day they fight each other as down the line. Not for a while. I just see them being loyal to each other forever. You know, I could even see them getting a tag title run one day. You know, if Kaiser gets big enough and they treat the tag division like it seems like they're building it back up.
They are. Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, though, and then Priest tells Morgan that she has balls, something the rest of Judgment Day doesn't. And then I think, what did he call her? Like sucia, which means like dirty or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know, crazy that they be saying that shit in Spanish on WWE TV all the time. But your thoughts on the Sami Zayn Gunther stuff, and then just more Judgment Day on TV featured super prominently all the time, which is good for them.
It's kind of funny, the Sami thing. I've heard a lot of people kind of say the same thing that you have, that you're kind of cooling off on Sami, that his time is kind of like winding down. I'm actually getting more ramped up. Sami's superpower is being able to be the consummate good guy in every situation. Like, he was funny when he was the heel running around with Paul Heyman wearing the Fidel Castro get. Like, I remember those days. And when he was with the Bloodline, it was still Sammy trying to be the consummate good guy, trying to repair relationships, trying to be the good guy. And it's funny that in this scenario with Gunther coming up, and I agree with you, let me just put this point blank, Gunther is going to murder. I mean, if CM Punk can talk about it, Gunther is going to straight up murder Sammy at Bad Blood. But I like the idea that Sammy is going after, Gunther and going after Kaiser by trying to provoke the idea that, look, you know what, you deserve an equal opportunity too. You deserve to be, in the role of facing a champion. And when Gunther comes out, he just turns on him and blasts him, because here's Sammy's weakness. As much of a superpower as being the consummate good guy is, it doesn't mean shit when the two people you're talking to are heel through and through. Like, both Kaiser and Gunther are evil for the sake of evil. Like, you're not going to get him to budge. And it was so funny watching him get popped, because in my mind, it's like, that's what happens when people stick their nose in other people's business and they shouldn't. Like, that's what Sammy is. Sammy's trying to stick his nose into something that it doesn't belong, and he's going to get the shit kicked out of him.
No, you're absolutely right. I love it. And dude, Kaiser getting a big win over Sammy down the line. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm a big Kaiser.
I can see that being a good feud too between those two. Yeah.
Did they bring back the European title ever? Kaiser said it. I'm going to win the United States title and turn it into the European title. He said that late night before.
I hope he does. That would be so fucking cool.
What if they just bring back the European title, period? Like, they just bring it back and like it's another belt? Or is that too many belts?
I mean, they could resurrect the old European belt, right?
Dude, what they should do is they should have every champion. So if you're the fucking WWE champion, it's one champion. Now, I get it. You need the world heavyweight and the WWE. So, okay, you have both belts. All right, sweet. And then let's say you have the Intercontinental belt. Let's say you have the women's belt, the women's tag. Those champs all go to every show, like Undertaker back in the day.
Right.
And then you have one belt, the United States title on SmackDown, that's on USA Network. That is the fucking exclusive SmackDown title. And that person's almost like the world heavyweight champ of your show sort of thing. But right. And then on the other channel, Netflix, let's say you have the European belt or the Intercontinental belt is just the belt
or the Netflix title, Phil. Maybe they can bring in
bro. If they do a Netflix belt, I might fucking I might just like, come on now. That's insane, bro. Think about like, well, I don't know. We'll talk about the AEW TV. Sure, you got time? You want to talk about the AEW TV deal with your boy for a little bit?
That's fine.
Let's go, man. Okay. But anyways, yeah, this was pretty good. And then we have Bianca Belair and Io Sky, who had fucking one of the best women's matches, period. It was just a phenomenal match. TV matches you'll ever see. I feel like this is exactly what you tune into Raw to see, besides the kaiju battle. But this was just a fucking amazing match. And yeah, dude, I don't even know what to say about it. I love Io. Bianca's really just won me over so much. If you guys have been listening to the show over the last year, God, she's won me over so much. And let's read what notes they have here. Testator revealed that Belair's only single loss came to Nia Jax in the Queen of the Ring tournament. That is a hell of a stat.
Right.
And Sky's tope suicida to Belair on the outside. The finish was extraordinary. Yeah. And also the suplex from like the outside where Belair like had her in the suplex and walked up the stairs and fucking threw her in the ring. The whole thing, man. Phenomenal. Your thoughts on this match and just the direction they're going with. And also, like, by the way, Damage Control sort of being presented as faces. Belair and Jade are faces, face versus face. WWE sort of doing that now more. They're like, fuck it, we can do more face versus face, heel versus heel. I don't know if I like that, but it's working, man. This was awesome. So your thoughts?
I'm with you, because normally that shouldn't work. That shouldn't be the highlight for, a match, to have two faces together unless it's been built up over a long period of time. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, etc. You can keep putting names in here. Bianca Belair didn't have to prove herself. I think a lot of people sleep on Io Sky. Damage Control has not been a solid group for a while. Even before the departure of Bailey, it was kind of like there's just a bunch of people in a group. Dakota Kai doesn't really serve anything. Asuka's obviously injured. We know what she's going through, which is very sad too.
Right.
And Kairi Sane, it's funny because I remember when we were talking about Kairi Sane during her first run, me and Joe got a ton of flack because we're like, look, it's Charlotte is having some of the best matches of her career. These Kairi Sane injuries are a little bit more on Kairi. Kairi is not this great superstar that you all think, but Japan, it's like it doesn't matter. Kairi Sane has now been a part of Damage Control this entire time. What has she done of note? She is a footnote in this group, and I think people sleep on Io Sky, and I think it's unfair. And when you have matches like this, it's so surprising to see how many people go, wow, this girl is really capable. It's like, yeah. Don't you remember NXT? Do you not remember what she was doing in NXT? Don't you remember Poppy? Don't you remember Zoe Stark? Like, don't you remember the level that Io Sky was willing to do in these War Games matches? Like, Io is a fantastic talent. And I think matches with somebody that's equal on her level, like a Bianca Belair, is going to highlight both of these girls in a way that people have not seen before. So I'm happy that you loved it, Phil, and I'm happy that so many people really enjoyed it, because you're right. These are the kind of matches that we need to see on Raw. These are the kind of matches, the women's matchups that we need to see. And don't take it lightly. Even though what we saw on Raw was fantastic, somebody in creative also paid attention and went, holy shit, we got something. Let's find a program for these girls, because that's what it's going to be.
Absolutely. And then we had Dominic and Damian Priest throw down, and this was the main event of the evening. And the Terror Twins, you're laughing at the name. I don't mind it too much, but yeah, it is a little on the cheesier side. There have been worse ones, like Pure Fusion Collective, though. That one remains like the worst fucking name maybe
Techno
ever.
2000, baby.
Jesus. So Priest and Mysterio throw down. Now I like that Priest is just sort of like fighting everyone to kind of get to Finn, but he's still dealing with this little rat Dominic,
Yeah.
And shout out Dominic and Rey Mysterio, who were both at the UFC Noche there. And they worked it into the gimmick. They're like, they had to be kept separate, and they sat away from each other and shit.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Rey Mysterio gave Dana White a special mask. He unmasked for Dana. Wow. And then, he had a backup mask as well, though. So that was, I don't know, cool little moment there. But anyways, Priest throws down. So this match, Priest beats Mysterio, obviously, but it's basically about all the aftermath that really matters. Now, was this match solid? Of course, right? Like, Dom's just super... He's just, nuclear heat, man. Everyone fucking hates this guy. Priest is, I've been saying it for like a year. He's going to be his babyface run is going to be amazing. And just they see a lot in him, they see tons in this guy. Wait till Bad Bunny comes back and they team up again, that shit's going to be crazy. So, I could see Bad Bunny showing up to fucking help him against Judgment Day even, so either way, Liv's on the outside doing her thing. She is phenomenal on the outside. I've really loved her. I'm not the biggest Liv fan, but I do love her in this new Judgment Day role. I love that the Judgment Day is an ever-changing group. They're still featured prominently as like, a lot of people are like, man, I'm tired of the Judgment Day just like running around on the whole show. But just look how great these shows have been. They're featured like the most prominently because they're just a heel group of shitty heels that we all want to see get beat up, dude. So next week they stood tall over. Basically, the match goes down. Rhea and fucking Damian get beat down, and the Terror Twins are beat down, and the Judgment Day are standing tall over them again. Is basically what went down, what this was all about, building up to Bad Blood. When is Bad Blood, by the way, this weekend or the next?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Hold on.
Here, let me look it up. WWE Bad Blood 2024. But what was your thoughts on this match and just the whole ending to the show? I thought it was phenomenal. Went off air beautifully. Testator's call was amazing. He fucking hates the Judgment Day. I love it. And just your thoughts on it all.
Chaos. I do like the matchup. I don't like seeing the Terror Twins getting beat down every week, but I know why it's happening. They want to make the audience believe that these two just can't hang with the Judgment Day. Obviously, we're going to have the He-Man and She-Ra moment where they stick their swords in the sky and just beat the hell out of everybody. But it's fun. It's overall fun. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. Dominic is just a true consummate heel. And you can't go wrong with ending the show with the Judgment Day storyline, because it's still what a lot of people appeal to. Liv Morgan, once again, like we've said before, not a huge fan of her, but she's done so phenomenal in her role as the sleazy, scuzzy next door girl, as the woman's, the wife stealer, or the husband stealer. Like, she's just a man eater through and through. Dude, and she understands her role and she plays it perfectly. I really can't say that they have never matched a creative gimmick so well before until Liv Morgan. But overall it was a fantastic Raw. And really, other than the CM Punk thing, which, like I said, some people will disagree with me, some people may understand where I'm coming from with that, I thought the show was pretty damn good. Absolutely fantastic, Phil.
Yeah, I thought so too. And also, speaking of mommy, they're building up to her hitting that fucking riptide on Dom.
Oh, God, yes.
And, but, Jey Uso comes down to help, and out of nowhere, Breaker just spears the soul out of him.
Yeah, that came out. I was not expecting Braun Breaker out there. I really wasn't. I was expecting Jey to make the save a little bit. Like, that was fine. Braun coming out there, I was like, oh, look at this. This was not planned for. So that was great.
Yes, and he just speared the soul out of Jey. That was amazing. Yeah, round of applause for Raw, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And Mish, I want to thank you for joining me today on this PWT podcast. I appreciate it so much.
How much?
And man, I love reviewing wrestling with you. So whenever you want to come back, you are more than welcome to do so. Open door, as they say. And I want to come do Wrestling Soup again. And I just appreciate the shit out of you. This was so fun reviewing Raw with you. And we seem to be on the same wavelength with the trajectory of WWE right now and as of late. You know what I mean?
I love it, dude. I love doing your shows. I love listening to your shows, Phil. It's fantastic, man. You've got great fucking energy. I know I said it before, but I'm still hammering that point home. I love doing these shows, and Pro Wrestle Time is perfect, dude. And Thursday. Wrestling Soup Thursday. Everybody can jump in 7:30 Eastern time. And you'll be joining us. So we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll probably go down some predictions, for Bad Blood, etc. And work our way from there. But thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, Bad Blood is fucking October 5th. So that's in like 2 weeks.
Oh, it's 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. So but anyways, everybody, round of applause for Mish, and let the good folks know one more time where they can find you, what you got going, anything you want to plug or anything you need to get off here as we clap you out of here.
WrestlingSoup.com. All of our shows are online on Patreon as well as on the free feeds. So Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, etc., etc. You can check out all of our shows. We've been around for 15 years. And check us out. There's the reason we've been around. So much love. And thank you very much for having me on. And hope you guys enjoyed the show. And see you Thursday.
Absolutely, dude. I'll see you Thursday. Thank you so much, Mish. Appreciate you so much. And guys, this has been PWT. You know where to check me out, at Pro Wrestle Times, at Pro Wrestle Clips on YouTube.